but that's not the best news. Oh, now I've got it. It repeats what I say when I do that test.
Oh.
So then we know they'll hear us. So
Yeah, so I guess, so can you stay here until we get started at 10:30?
yeah, I need to check on 5. Cheryl Clark's here. But I'll be right back. She just needs, I just need to help her get started.
Okay.
And it starts at 10, kind of like around the same time. But you're good. Anybody that comes on, you should be able to hear them. And your microphone is not muted, I'm pretty sure. So you can talk to them. Yeah, everything should be working if somebody comes on.
You're interested, there's pastries there.
Oh,
From
okay.
McLean's.
Thank
Have
you.
one. I got some
Okay.
extra ones.
I will. I think everything's ready though. When someone comes on, I'll talk to them and just.
Yeah, I just want to
we're,
make sure, yeah, that so that's the meeting that other people are running. So, yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, there's plates and stuff. And so.
And then you have a meeting that you're gonna run after
Yeah,
this?
so here's the way it's gonna go.
So
This
what time?
first meeting ends at noon.
Okay,
I've got grandmas bringing in sandwiches for the few people
Uh-huh.
who are here continuing. A few other people will join about, closer to 12:30.
in person?
Yeah, but
But-
most of them are zooming in.
Okay, so at noon, there's another Zoom that starts.
Well, it starts at 12:30. So
12:30.
I built in a half an hour for lunch.
For lunch.
But some people will start, there are a few people, not too many, who will be showing up in person like at 12:15. Most of the people who are gonna be in person are also here for the 10:30 thing.
Mhm.
But there'll be like 2 or 3 more. Most of them will be zooming in through my account. So we'll have to get my account set up through that computer there.
Yes, well, I'll just have you sign in
Yeah. Like we did
to
last
your
time.
Zoom account.
And then if people, and so then the issue will be, some people may want to screen share, but if they're doing it, like just going on the internet and sharing this, they can do it up there, but we may need you here to help them.
Okay, yeah.
And why don't you give me you have a cell phone with you?
I do, I have it with me, but you actually could call my office phone too and I can pick it up, so.
Okay, well, whatever's best. Why don't you give me both?
Okay. 816-235-2860. Or 816-810-6370.
Yeah, probably have that someplace. Okay, so,
There's a 0 at the end.
oh, 0.
6370.
Zero. Okay. Okay, so I mean, I think the main thing for sure where we need you here be about 12:15. to get our
Okay,
Zoom
yeah,
set
to
up.
switch it over to
Yeah.
the Zoom.
Yeah,
They're gonna
yeah,
start
Yeah,
at 12:15. And then this one, you can just, they'll probably end this one, whoever is owning it.
yeah,
And then you don't have to worry about this one, but
yeah, they will, they will. And then we may want to require, I'm gonna ask people who are presenting at my session at 12:30 if they're okay recording it, because some people have asked that it be recorded, who couldn't be here today. So I'll ask them, and then we can record, right?
you can just hit start recording
Just the way
anytime.
we usually do.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
all righty, I'll look over here.
Yeah, please.
This starts at 10:30.
This starts at 10:30.
Okay.
Hopefully these people.
Oh,
will be
man.
on time. I love McLean's.
Yeah.
Coffee there too, if I'm gonna show them where the Keurig machine is.
Oh, yes, down the way.
Yeah.
Try the dog.
They're supposed to call me.
Thank you.
So what is that? Is that an outside door?
It is, that's what I'm saying. If you open that door, you can have warm air coming in. And people do it all the time. It's not, fire alarm door. Well, it kind
Okay.
of probably makes it vacuum, but sometimes if you,
Okay, I'll
If you
tell,
want-
yeah, if we need to, we can do that.
yeah, and here's something that can hold it open. They have this here
Oh, for that purpose?
for that purpose.
Okay, well, I'll use that, but why don't you close it for
Yeah,
now, but I'll know I can do that.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, there could be some noise out there just because
okay,
now it's got some airflow. It doesn't get shut there.
all right. Yeah, that's true. Okay.
It usually helps a little bit, but still, it never gets warm. And we've complained about it a few times, but they don't seem to.
Yeah, it's just kind of,
It's almost,
and
this
I'm
room
somebody who's
it's
usually.
actually a little warmer than five. No, four.
That's
Four
really
is
something.
freezing. It was 64 in there this
I'm
morning.
usually too warm. If my wife were here, she'd be like running out of here. She doesn't like the cold.
See? Oh, yeah.
Hi, Deb and Sammy.
Hello, how are you?
Hello.
Good. How are you all?
Good. Good,
Thanks.
good.
Thanks for being here.
Happy to be.
And I can go ahead and put the video on and you'll be visible. Is that okay? Sure. There you are. Oh.
I'm still hearing a lot of dings, so we'll wait another couple minutes as people still join us.
That was okay.
Morning, Leslie. Morning, everybody.
Morning. Sounds like our dings have slowed down.
All right. I'm probably gonna have to join this afternoon's meeting virtually. My car is out for an oil change and I don't know when I'm gonna be able to get it back. If I had an autonomous car, it could come home by itself, right?
Well, one day soon.
Yeah.
My guilty pleasure is kids' cartoons. I was watching an episode of The Jetsons the other day. And I thought, oh man, I want one of those showers that you just stand there and it just puts you along the conveyor belt and you're showered and dressed by the time you get at the end. All right, everyone. Well, have not heard anybody join again lately, so I guess we'll get started. All right. So we always start our meetings with the mission and the vision. So the vision of our coalition is that every citizen and household in the Kansas City metropolitan area has access to the internet, the equipment needed to use it, and the skills needed to take advantage. And then our mission is to facilitate collaboration among organizations and initiatives working to bridge the digital divide in order to maximize the resources for the greatest impact. And with that, we'll just recognize our steering council, Carrie Coogan, Aaron Deacon. For people who don't know me, I work with Aaron at KC Digital Drive. I'm the digital inclusion program manager there. Tom Esselman with PCs for People and Ina P. Montgomery. Don't forget to slam the P in the middle, as we said yesterday when Ina and I were together with Urban Tech. And just wanted to give a second to see if there are any new folks joining us today. I'm sharing, so I can't see the chat or too much of anything really. Zoom needs to make a few improvements in that area, I think. But if anybody is new, would you want to go ahead and unmute? All right. Sounds like we got a group of veterans today. Oh, is somebody there?
Hi, I'm ToiSheona Thomas. This is my first time joining, but I'm with Literacy KC.
And we'll be hearing from you all shortly.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. And if you're not a member of the coalition, but you do join us regularly, membership is free and you can fill the form out there at that website address and join us officially. It'd be great to have more official members if you haven't done that yet. Here's all our socials, etc. So if you aren't following, you're not familiar with the website, or you're wondering how to email the coalition, there's everything you need. And so with that, we're going to have on our agenda, as ToiSheona mentioned, Literacy KC is going to give a member update on the digital inclusion programming that they've had, and then we'll have the featured presentation with Sammy Lowdermilk and Socia. Talk about all things Tech Goes Home. We'll have some community announcements, and then it will be time for lunch. So our next meeting, we pushed our meeting this month for a week because of the holiday, but we'll be back at the first Friday in August, and there's a potential we might have a hybrid option, so maybe offering an in-person opportunity. So stay tuned for that, but regardless, we will be back here 10:30 on August 5th. Gosh. Is that it? Is that the end of the slides? Okay, well, it's possible it is. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and hand it over to ToiSheona for the member update from Literacy KC.
Hi, good morning. I did have some slides. I didn't know if would you like me to just talk about?
Yeah,
What?
you can put them up. You have sharing capabilities.
Yes.
Great.
Can everyone see that? Okay, perfect. Um, let me just start. My name is ToiSheona Thomas. I have been with Literacy KC since 2017. I started part-time as office coordinator, and then in 2019, I transitioned into the program manager, working with students, enrolling our students. And then last November, October, I accepted the volunteer manager position. So here I am. I've been working over 10 years in nonprofit, and I love what I do because I love to see our students reach their goals. Yesterday, we just had our big graduation for all of our students, and that is my favorite day of the year. I love watching them be excited about graduating and just moving forward with whatever goals they have set for them. I'll skip that one. So we started in 1985 in the basement of a church, and started with just tutoring, and there was a need. They saw a need for reading help for adults in Kansas City. So they relocated in 2006 to the third floor of the American Red Cross building. There was one classroom. And then in 2008, we almost closed because of lack of funding. In 2015, they figured that, well, actually, let me back up. The board got together and put some money together to keep us open. And then we applied for a grant and received a bigger grant and was able to bring on a couple of other staff. And then they decided that classroom-based programming was way better. We could help more students at once. And so we brought on instructors and then added tutors in the classroom to help with any other one-on-one. We changed our name in 2016 to Literacy KC, and got her a beautiful logo. And then in 2018, we decided that we were outgrowing the third floor. There were a lot of issues in that building. So we started a capital campaign and relocated to our Troost building in 2018. In 2020, we received the DESE grant. That's a $6 million grant over 3 years. And we added our ESL program that is housed in Clymer Community Center off 13th and Vine. Our mission is to advance literacy within the Kansas City metropolitan area through direct services, advocacy, and collaboration. And our vision is literacy for all. Our philosophy is that we just bring a welcoming environment to our students. As an adult, it's already hard enough to face the obstacles that they're facing because they don't have their high school diploma. It's hard enough to walk in our door and say, I need help reading as an adult. So we want to be as welcoming so that they can trust that we're gonna not judge them and be there for them and help them build themselves and reach their goals. All of our classrooms are instructor-led and tutor-driven and student-centered, which means all the choices that we make, we put our students first and we think about their needs first. And we just want to, just help them reach their goals. And all of our programs are free. We also, once our students are able to start testing for the high set, once they've reached those goals, we also have a pot that we help the students pay for their high set, which is $100 for all 5 tests. It's like 98, but 100. And as soon as the students come into us, we do ask them to define their goals and what success looks like for them. And then we just try to continue to encourage them, push them, and just make sure that it's an environment that they're comfortable to be themselves. This is a quick video that we have for one of our students. He started out rough, but he got through the program and he was able to graduate. This is last year's graduation.
My full name is Prince Jackson, and I grew up
Can everyone hear it?
I got a kind of wild story. I got kicked out of multiple schools before here, wasn't going to school.
I met Prince through my son, who they're friends, and they've been friends for some time. One day while he was over, I sat there and I told him, you can't let people bring you down and dictate your future.
She stayed on me about getting my high set and pushed me to want better for myself. I asked my dad to take me to get signed up, and he took me to Literacy KC.
One day I looked up at work and I seen him with his dad there, so I went over and talked to him and he enrolled in the program. And I think that got something that sparked a flame in him that said, okay, I can really do this.
I always thought it would be easy to just get by, but I had to study for this. I had to work hard. My biggest supports were the Literacy KC staff and my father. They gave me the opportunity and confidence I needed to pass. Not just Miss Toy, but everybody believed in me here, which helped me believe in myself. One thing I can definitely say about Literacy KC is they won't stop pushing you. They're gonna stay on you as long as you show up. This is a roadblock that I just hopped over, and I know it's just the beginning. So I'm happy that this organization is here.
So that is Prince. He started out rocky. He actually, excuse me, he actually got put on a break from the program because he was not having such a great experience, and took a break. And then I had a long talk with him and told him, like I said, you can't let other people dictate. You've got to go in here and you've got to do what you need to do to pass. And he got his head on straight and he got in there and did it. And now he's taking classes for working on planes, and he's working and he's doing really great for himself. So our students' skill set. So 40% of our students that come in already have a high school diploma. I have had a lot of our students are not digitally aware. I had a student come in and he was needing to fill out the paperwork on the computer, and I noticed he was struggling, and he's like, I don't know anything about the computer. I got my high school diploma, but I can't read. He was from the South and just said, I just got pushed through. Every year, they just kept pushing me through. And for me, seeing the statistics and seeing these numbers and, knowing that our school system are failing, us and our kids, I'm glad that we are here, that we're at least able to somewhat curve, the gap and help those that are willing to try to get help and are willing to come in and get help. A lot of our students that come in are reading below the 5th grade level. And then a lot of our students are also English language learners. We have a lot of refugees come and into our classes, and they really, really work hard towards their digital literacy, towards English, learning English. You know, they have, when they come over from other countries, they have 3 months to figure out life for them, their families, their kids, to get a doctor for their kids, to get their kids enrolled in school, to get a job, figure out the bus schedule, those types of things, while not knowing our English language. You know, imagine trying to navigate that on a daily basis. Most of our student goals, these are things that our students come in and they say they want to do better at. Our programs, like I said, we have our adult basic English, which we call ABE. That includes foundational reading, which is a level that we're meeting them where they are, and we're not, you know, expecting a lot of fast progression from these students. A lot of these students have developmental disabilities or just learn at a slower pace. Then we have the high set classes. Those students we expect to keep continuing moving forward and progressing. Our ESL program starts from beginning and goes to advanced. We have the college and career readiness. Pathways is a class that we have outside of MCC. We partner with MCC. The students that come in to them and test low, and they have to take these classes that are not credit classes. So they send them to us and we help them get to that level that they need to so they can take those credit classes. The IELCE and then IET, we have the different certificate programs for Surf Safe, CNA, what is it? Forklift and sewing. And then we are getting ready to add another one, I know. Then we have our digital program that is so awesome. We have the most awesome instructor for our digital program. We also have tutors that help in those classes. Those happen 3 times a week. And then those classes are really special because you don't have to enroll in our classes to come to those classes. Anyone is welcome to come to those digital classes to get digital help. And then we have our Let's Read program. That's a family reading program that an instructor goes out to different sites, and it's a group of kids, young age kids, and they read to them, have an activity. Every kid gets to go home with a brand new book to build the home library, and it promotes family reading. So other opportunities, basically, we have our events. We have 2 big events each year. Our luncheon is something that really gets to show and showcase like our student success, and just shows that what our students are doing, what successes they have. It's a really great day. And then our Literacy KC Classic, and we also have added a community garden. And I am done. Is there any questions?
Thank you so much, ToiSheona.
Yes, absolutely.
Just for a bit of context, I was in the first cohort of the Digital Inclusion Fellowship. I was at the Full Employment Council, but the other fellow was at Literacy KC. So you all have had a legacy of digital literacy complementing your reading literacy for a while. So it's exciting to hear all about you. So thank you so much. That I think we'll probably go ahead and move on. to Sammy and Deb with Tech Goes Home. And you all want to go ahead and fire up your presentation, or we're ready to go.
So hi, everyone. I'm Deb Socia. I actually see a bunch of faces I recognize. And I work here in Chattanooga and Hamilton County. And we have the Tech Goes Home program here, and we also run some projects around community connectivity, making sure that folks who can't get service have an avenue to get service. So we do that in a bunch of different ways. I'm going to talk about two of those projects, one called Quick Connect and the other is HCS Ed Connect. So Quick Connect, when the pandemic hit, we recognized there were a large number of folks in our community that did not have connectivity. And we knew we needed to do something fast. So we worked with local philanthropy and our broadband provider. We have a municipal broadband system run by EPB, which is our electric power board and also our broadband provider. And yeah, I really have a gig symmetrical at home and it cost me less than $70 a month. So it's really great to have that. And they have been a great partner. We very quickly put up 123 free public hotspots. And we partnered with both EPB and with the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga, because one of our goals was to make sure where we placed these actually matched the places where people needed them, right? So we layered on a bunch of different data sets and we looked at the mapping, and we ended up in the neighborhoods that were the lowest income, that had the lowest broadband adoption, that had the highest number of children, really looked at what we could do to have the biggest impact. And so being that EPB put these up and we had money through philanthropy, we got a gigabit backhaul on that Wi-Fi hotspot, which meant it's really powerful and a lot of people can use it at the same time. And we have in the last couple of years had 15,000, steadily 15,000 users a month. And we've literally used many terabits of data, millions of dollars worth of data through those Wi-Fi hotspots. You know, part of this is making sure folks who have a phone understand to offload that data so they're not using their data, but rather Wi-Fi. And making sure folks had options. So that was helpful, but we also knew it was a Band-Aid and it wasn't going to solve the problem. So we started something we call HCS Ed Connect. And we also say powered by EPB because EPB is involved. And this is another partnership. And I have to say, you know, the municipal broadband's really helpful when you're looking at projects like this. But what really made this work was the fact that we all worked together regularly prior to needing to build this project, right? So we already had a sense of trust. We already had a sense of connection. None of us went into this thinking we should get all the attention. It was not like that. We were really happy to share whatever resources and support we had. So HCS Ed Connect is connecting all students who are in K-12 with, if you are low income, you can have free home access for the next at least 10 years with 300 megabits symmetrical. So that is the lowest tier. So you get a sense it's really a big partnership. In order to do this, because we have a state law, as you all do, about broadband, ours says that EPB cannot sell their service or give away their service for less than it costs to provision that service. So in order to do this, we had to raise $8.2 million, which we actually did pretty quickly. We got a CARES grant at our organization. The city put in money, this county put in money. Blue Cross Blue Shield Foundation of Tennessee put in money, and then we had local philanthropy fill the hole. And within about a month, we hit our goal of 8.2 million. So we were able to invest that and then save funds on the other end because the cost per month is low enough that the school district actually pays the whole deal. And they've committed to do that for 10 years. And so what we've been able to do is reduce the cost per month per home to the point where it is sustainable. We imagine it'll go beyond 10 years, but we've got a commitment from all partners for 10 years. So that's our HCS Ed Connect. The other thing I wanted to mention is that we have a bunch of coalitions here, not unlike your group. We have the Tennessee Coalition for Digital Equity, and we are working together with them and the Broadband Office for the state of Tennessee to come up with a plan so that we can apply for BEAD funding. So we're in the process of doing that. We also have a Regional Digital Access and Equity Committee, which our organization manages and moderates. And then we have a Broadband Access Regional Broadband Coalition that's really looking at how can we connect the areas outside of our footprint here so that all of our neighbors are also connected. And so we're working with some of the co-ops nearby on how they can potentially build a project like we've got here, or work with others to bring in a project, a public-private partnership, because we really want to see the whole area connected. So the last thing I'll mention is that we really have worked very hard on ACP. Sammy, are you planning to talk about ACP?
No, that's all you, Deb. I'll let you cover
Okay,
that.
I didn't want to step on your toes there, but we have some folks internally that have really become experts on getting folks signed up for ACP. And so they do actually go to events and help people get signed up. But in addition to that, we've started a project to train other people. So for example, if you go to the library, the librarian should be able to help you. If you go to a healthcare organization, somebody there should be able to help you. If you go to your child's school, somebody there should be able to help you. So thinking about how do we bridge that gap by providing multiple sources of information about how to sign up. And that's been incredibly successful. So yeah, actually really successful. So we have folks running out all over the region to try and train. So if you're interested in any of that, we do have some trainings and we'd be happy to connect you to that. So I'm going to hand this over to Sammy for the Tech Goes Home conversation.
Thank you, Deb. So Tech Goes Home, of course, is, three core tenets, connecting people to the internet, providing them technology to access the internet, and then some education around how to leverage that to improve their lives. We started the program in 2015, so we've run the program about 7 years now. It's a train the trainer program, so we partner with schools, churches, and other organizations to provide a 15-hour digital literacy, digital skills class. Upon completion of that 15-hour requirement, you can pay a $50 copay and get a brand new Chromebook at the end of the class. What we also try to do during the class is educate individuals about low-cost internet options. And if they qualify, either our team or the trainer will help them sign up for that program if they do qualify. We have run over 7,000 people through the program over the past 7 years, so about 1,000 per year. Let me switch sides here. We do offer several types of Tech Goes Home classes. When we started back in 2015, we just offered 3 types of classes, which was our community class, which is for anybody that's 18 and up, our school class, which is for a school-age student and parent or guardian. They go through the program together, and then our early childhood program, which the parent and student go through the program, and they actually get an iPad based on the curriculum we use for that program. Over the years, we've slowly expanded what we offer based on funding, partnerships, and so now we do offer a program for early childhood educators. That program is actually statewide now, thanks to a state subcontract, and so we have tech coaches all across Tennessee that are implementing that program. We offer a program here in Chattanooga for public school teachers. We do offer our program completely in Spanish through a great partnership with La Paz here. We offer some accessibility programs. So parents of nonverbal children, deaf, hard of hearing, blind and low vision classes through some great partnerships we have here. We offer a small business class. We do offer a class we call Office Ready, which is kind of a 2.0 for our typical Take Goes Home class. This focuses on, those digital office skills. So emailing, doing presentations, spreadsheets, a lot of the things we do a lot in the office that a lot of people don't have the skill set around. And then we offer some workforce development classes. One of those, I think we're in our third cohort now in partnership with Chattanooga State. They're offering a Google certification program. And so we bring in Take Goes Home at the front part of that. And so the first week they're learning those basic, digital skills, and they also get a device that they can use throughout the Google certification program. And it is a cohort. We do have an instructor with Chat State that provides some training and support around that. Deb can add some more to that, but we provide transportation, if there are daycare needs, whatever support we can provide around that program.
I'll add one piece, which is that we provide a stipend so folks can actually quit that low paid job so they could get the training they need to get a better paying job. And so that has been really powerful. And Chattanooga State actually provides 12 credit hours for the time they spend in getting their Google certification. So they not only get the certification, but they get a step ahead on getting an associate's degree.
Yep. And then finally, we offer a program for older adults. We started doing those classes in the rural areas around Chattanooga. That's actually turned into a statewide project as well. We received some funding through some partners in Nashville through the West End Home Foundation. And so we'll be implementing that program over this next year all across Tennessee. And I think that's the end of our presentation. Deb, is there anything that I've failed to mention?
I'll just mention, that the pandemic definitely elevated this issue. I'm sure everybody on this call has been well aware of it for many years, but it has also provided a lot of opportunities. And in the next year, we will run as many people through the program as we did in our last 7. So we have grown tremendously. And that's wonderful. The money won't be here forever. We're going to take advantage of it while we can. And we're going to find ways to get support out to as many people as we can during this short window of funding, right? We know we've got it now. We want to make sure we take good advantage of it.
And I was wondering, Deb, if you could just talk a bit about the genesis of Tech Goes Home, why you came up with it, how it expanded, and then also, I don't know if Sammy wants to jump in and talk about the statewide expansion throughout Tennessee beyond Chattanooga. You all can obviously work all that out.
Sure. So, I was a teacher and a principal for 32 years. And in my last principalship, I had a lot of students who had never had a chance to use a computer. This is quite a while ago. It was in the lowest income neighborhood of Boston, definitely a neighborhood with challenges. And I had about 700 middle school students. And I got a line in the state budget to give every child a MacBook. This was well before low-cost devices. And the problem was that our neighborhood wasn't really safe enough for my students to walk home with them in a backpack, right? I didn't want my students to have a risk. So there was an existing program in Boston that provided people with a refurbished device and did some basic Windows training. We took that program and turned it into something entirely different. Because for the folks we were serving, it wasn't necessarily a tool for writing a letter. It was a tool for improving quality of life over a variety of areas, right? How do we live, learn, earn, work, and play better through the use of technology? And so we developed an entirely different program. And when the city wanted to run this citywide, the mayor actually asked me if I would. And so I stepped away from my principalship and ran it citywide. And then so we started the nonprofit Tech Goes Home at that point. And it was interesting because I was moving into a new role and I got a call from Chattanooga saying, we'd like to run Tech Goes Home. So I came down here and helped them get it started. And Sammy has done an outstanding job of helping that program grow and change and really adapt to what the issues are in the moment, right? So one of the things we did at the beginning of the pandemic was we said, who doesn't have access that needs it right now? And we knew that the faith-based organizations were at the top of that list, right? These are the folks that people in our community trust. This is where they go for comfort. How do we make sure that's not missing from their lives? And so we trained some porch parties, but we trained the faith-based folks to use like Facebook Live and how do you collect donations, because that's important too. These are small businesses in our community and they pay salaries. So we helped them. We helped a lot of restaurants who just didn't know how to adapt their website to make it make sense. We also provided resources to folks in the recovery community. So if you're an AA member, how do you now, when everybody's home, still get that support when you need it? And so we did a lot of really creative and different things as this progressed. I think the other thing that pushed us to be more flexible and find solutions was on April 6th of the year everything shut down, we had a huge tornado come through town. So we had an additional challenge of how are we helping folks who now have been displaced, small businesses and others who really just needed an online presence to survive. And so we did a lot of that. It was a lot of brainstorming and trying to find solutions and getting dollars so that we could actually provide those solutions. So I'll give it back to you, Sammy, to talk a little bit about our statewide.
Sure. The one thing we've tried to do with Tech Goes Home is just stair-step our growth. You know, we didn't try to do everything all at once. So as opportunities arise each year, you know, there's a foundation offering some funding. You know, we always have plans of things we would like to do, right? And so, okay, let's try this new type of Tech Goes Home class with this interested partner. And so we've just slowly grown it over the years. And of course, the pandemic just put it in hyperdrive. Just to give some context, in December of last year, we had 3 people on the Tech Goes Home team. Right now we have, I think, 16 in just a few months, and we're about to add probably 3 or 4 more with our older adults program. So you can really see the growth because the three original members definitely could not take on all this work. As Deb mentioned, we're planning to do as many this year, this fiscal year, as we've done all in the past 7. So it's been an interesting ride for sure. But, you know, we've really proven ourselves over the past several years. And so when these other communities are interested in doing similar work, of course, they reach out to us and we explain our work and say, it's not that hard. This is how you do it. If you want to go find the money, you know, you find the staffing devices, you know, the curriculum is all open source. We just kind of compile it, vet it, make it in a logical order for our participants. And so most of the time they're like, well, why don't y'all just come run it for us here in our community? And that's kind of how we've grown throughout Tennessee now. So yeah, the future is a little uncertain, right? We're all across Tennessee, but only with 2 of our programs. So what will Tech Goes Home Tennessee look like in a year or 2? We're not sure, but there are a lot of funding opportunities out there, and we'll probably try to take advantage of as many of those as possible.
Yeah, and I just wanted to point out that your team of 3 served 1,000 people, which is really quite incredible.
Well, I mean, it's all due to the partnerships, right? If you find great partners, you find a good trainer with those organizations or schools, It's a familiar face in a familiar place, so it's an easy sell. It's not us out in the community, some stranger, trying to sell. If you just take this class, you can buy a brand new computer for $50. Most of the time people are like, well, what's the catch? And so having great partners out in the community that are already working with those constituents or clients makes it a lot easier to grow the program. And, we've never really marketed the program locally. It's all been organic growth. A lot of that is probably due to our schools. Teachers are, they have a network, and so they talk and say, well, we did this great program in our school, you should try it in yours. And so the growth has really been organic, and we typically every quarter, we run 25 to 30 classes per quarter here in Chattanooga, and we usually have to turn people away. And so we have to really balance, who do we serve, what community do they serve, and kind of rotate those in and out each quarter. But it's all been organic and word of mouth for the most part.
And just to add on to that a bit, I think the strength of this program is its flexibility and its ability to be taken from one place and moved to another and used successfully there. And definitely the partnerships have been a huge reason that it's been successful. When I first got here 3 years ago, it was fall before the pandemic, and Sammy had twice as many requests for classes as we had funding to do. And we all committed ourselves to being able to say yes, right? We wanted to say yes. And so we worked really hard at it initially. I mean, the funds are much more available now than they were then, but still, we really wanted to be able to say yes.
Right, we've got a couple of hands up. So Rachel, you have a question?
Yeah, I would love to hear a little bit more about your older adult program for digital literacy, specifically where we can find the curriculum and what that looks like, but also how you have adapted that to that population, and then how you've also dealt with some of those in-person things that are just necessary. That, what is it like to do setup for you all? What is it like to make sure that they have internet access, and that actually might mean, connecting the devices and being there in their home to make sure that, their Wi-Fi is working, that they can Bluetooth connect things. So what does that maybe process look like in a nutshell? And then I'm happy to do a little more research if you drop anything in the chat that I can look at.
Sure. Yeah, that's been a really fun project for us. We've had to be pretty hands-on with that, obviously. You'll walk in a room at the senior center and there's 10 or 12 seniors in this huge room, and they're spread out all over the room just for social distancing, because we started that program regionally, I guess, a couple years ago. So, right in the middle of the pandemic. And so we've had to be very hands-on. I've been in a lot of seniors' homes, helping them with their hotspot or their internet, helping them navigate that. Again, we've got some great partners, right? The individuals at those senior centers are phenomenal. They're very patient. These are people they deal with pretty much on a daily or weekly basis already. So there's a relationship there. We did compile a specialized curriculum, which I'm happy to share. It's all open source. We just, kind of added a few extra things in there, but I'll put a link to that in the chat here in just a second. Yeah, we have had to be more hands-on with that project. Now that we're expanding that statewide, we'll probably have to have some extra help, which is why we're bringing on some additional people. But it focuses on, a lot of telehealth, online shopping, ordering your groceries online, those type things, getting your prescription drugs delivered, those various things that we typically don't cover in a lot of our classes. So it's a pretty specialized curriculum.
And one other thing about that I thought was pretty spectacular, with that grant, we were able to provide each of the senior centers with everything they needed to run a really good telehealth appointment. So if my internet at home wasn't strong enough for me to do that, or if I wasn't comfortable getting it set up, I know I can go to the senior center. I think it's the other benefit of the way that we do it with Train the Trainer is that the person doing the training is going to be there next week. First of all, you know them, you probably already trust them. But secondly, if I have a question at the end of the class, I know that trainer is still going to be there. So that made it a lot more helpful, I think.
Yeah, and we are now with our original partner here in the region, are going to offer a 2.0 class with that partnership with this new funding that they received. Just because the seniors are coming back every week with their computer saying, well, how do I do this? You know, you didn't cover this. How do I do that? And so there's a desire to keep learning. And so we're currently now developing a more advanced curriculum for those individuals.
All right, Tom?
There we go. Thanks, Leslie. Hey, Sammy. Hi, Deb. I just have a question about the devices. You talked about providing new devices with a voucher, a copay of $50. Tell me a little bit about who's supplying the devices and what's the process? In other words, are you getting bulk and distributing them on your own, or is it individual? Just tell me a little bit more about the device side of the equation.
So I'll talk about the devices, Sammy, and you can say how we get them because he's amazing at that. And you know, we had all these challenges during COVID with a lack of available devices, and Sammy managed to make that work. But you know, when I first ran Tech Goes Home in Boston, we used refurbished devices, and I got so many phone calls. Like, you know, my power cord doesn't work. The monitor died. I felt like I was spending so much time on that. And then where do I store them? Because that's a big storage issue. Who's refurbishing them for me? How am I getting them delivered to people's homes? Especially because at that point we were using towers, right? And a monitor, you know, you remember those. And people who came to the class got theirs on the last class, but guess what? They had to get them home. So we had to figure out how to deliver these because it's not so simple to walk with one of those or to take public transit with one. And so we finally decided it would be easier for us and probably similar cost, right? If we could actually purchase a new device, which is what we do. There are refurbishers here who give computers to other organizations, but we have stuck with this because the cost, the convenience, the 1 year, we have a year warranty. So I'm not getting those phone calls. All of those things have really helped to make the process less people intensive on our side.
Yeah, we work with a local vendor. They deliver the devices for each class. So each class will send them the delivery date and who they're going to be working with. They take the copays, the $50 copay. What they do is take a portion of that copay, they'll keep that and provide a year's worth of tech support. So if anybody has any issues with their Chromebook or, you know, the random things that come up, I forgot my password, those type of things, they have a number to call. That's somebody local that can help them navigate that. And so that's been a great partnership for us. The one thing, we get our money quarterly from the city and county, so we can't just buy, you know, 1,000 devices up front. And so we kind of have to do that by quarter. And so we're typically purchasing, you know, anywhere from 200 to 400 devices per quarter. Just because of our funding, we can't expend money we don't have yet.
So Sammy, what % of your participants then, I mean, does everyone pretty much everyone purchase the device who completes the training?
Yeah, about 98, 99% of our participants will purchase a device. Most of our devices are Chromebooks, although occasionally for our Office Ready program, we'll do a PC with Windows on it just because of that curriculum. And then as I mentioned, before our pre-K program, they do get iPads, as well as some of our accessibility programs, they receive an iPad as well. But those are pretty few and far between.
The cost of devices is is our biggest cost, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I bet if you had a great organization like PCs for People in Chattanooga, you could probably have that collaboration. Tom, you want to dive in on?
No, well, no, I mean, I don't want to make it an advertisement, but your dollars would go a heck of a lot farther. Especially when you're dealing with a refurbisher that has the kind of scale that we do. But I understand what you're saying. I know the limitations of Chromebooks, but for people who don't have any device, a Chromebook is as good as anything. As long as you are offering options for them when they have school kids or their grandparents with custody of their kids and they need a big screen and they need things that are just more functional than a Chromebook. And so that's the only reason I ask. I just wanted to see, what was working for you guys in terms of devices and how we can balance, the pros and cons of some of the issues, Deb, that you've brought up, knowing that at the end of the day, your dollars are going to go a heck of a lot farther if you can pay $150 for a laptop instead of $1,000 for a laptop.
Yep.
I've always admired the work you do, Tom.
No, I know that, Deb. We have a very mutually trusting and supportive relationship. But we do have a lot of negativity about refurbished devices that we're always trying to dispel by virtue of the type of service and the quality of service we provide compared to maybe just a lot of the more mom and pop shops that don't have the opportunity to really manage the quality when they have to do bigger quantities. And so that's why, as you know, we've just tried so hard to be very regimented on the quality, not just of the products, but of the service that goes along with it. And it's a big consideration for us as we consider a version of this program in the Kansas City area. So that's why I asked. And I think there's a great opportunity to do a hybrid between new and refurbished, just to help make budget dollars go farther, but also based on a certain minimum level of quality and service that needs to go along with it to minimize those kind of calls and disruptions to the administration of the program, which I totally understand.
Yeah. So Tom won't say more, I guess, but Deb, I want to throw in that when I was at the city, we created a digital upcycling program initially with surplus exchange. And then when PCs for People took over that operation, the agreement was transferred to them. And through over that time, I don't know what number we're at, Tom, a couple thousand computers from the city.
A little bit higher than that, but that's okay.
Yeah, smartphones, anything with a cord, as they say. And it also was a jobs engine as well. PCs for People has a refurbishing warehouse. Their employees come, or some of their employees anyway, come through the Full Employment Council. So it's part of a workforce development program as well.
Can I just add also that Tom has a wonderful woman named Karita who has taken over the lab at the Operation Breakthrough location where we are housed, also Literacy KC. And she is training local high school students to fix computers. So now our students, staff, and our families can bring computers right in there for repairs to the computers, which is a huge, huge benefit. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, there's a program in Charlotte that does that as well, E2D, right?
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, tech support is a huge component in this picture, and I think it doesn't get as much attention as it deserves, because I can remember when I was at Connecting for Good, people who are new to computers are so vulnerable to viruses and other sorts of issues that just turn their device into a paperweight instantly. So That's awesome to hear. Karita is amazing and one of my favorite people. She and I were coworkers when I was at Connecting for Good many years ago. Okay, any other questions? Not, I'm gonna kick it to Aaron Deacon, I think.
Can you hear me okay? I've got my computer up and I've got the law school camera up. I'm not sure which camera to look at. Are you hearing me?
We are, and I failed to thank Sammy and Deb. So thank you both for being here. And it's just amazing the work that you're doing and so inspiring.
Oh, hang on just a minute, Deb.
Yeah, just hang a second, Deb, if you can.
If you can, because I want to highlight, there's a few sort of serendipitous connections. I first met Deb when she was the founding executive director for Next Century Cities, which is a great organization that we've worked with since she helped to get it started. And we've got a whole team from Next Century Cities here at the UMKC Law School in Tony Lupino's law classroom. So I want to say hello to Brian Donahue, Ryan Johnston, and Corianne Zacher, who were in town, and Francella was here yesterday. So we've had a couple days of events with the team. We went down and visited the Johnson County IT offices today. We had a legislative listening session that many of the coalition members were at yesterday, and I'll hand it off to Tony after our announcements to talk a little about the broadband mapping work that is going to happen here at the law school today. So thank you, Deb, for starting the organization that brought all these folks to town. Also, Dustin Loop from the National Broadband Mapping Coalition is here as part of this visit as well. Another thing about the Enterprise Center that you guys didn't talk about, and I love the presentation, but they are one of probably a half dozen or a dozen peer organizations of ours across the country that have a focus both on digital inclusion and on the innovation side. So we work a lot with the Enterprise Center on smart city projects, and they were our peer Mozilla Gigabit Community Fund City, and a lot of the US Ignite work. So there's a lot of great intersections with that organization. So appreciate your partnership. The Air Quality Project that Jim's running is also running in Chattanooga through the Enterprise Center. And so as part of this partnership, we started looking, and Leslie, I would say really at the end of last year was digging into Tech Goes Home, and it was kind of like, why don't we have this here? Why don't we do something like this here? And we talked about a lot, and we do a lot of it, right? We have a lot of organizations within the coalition that do pieces of this. We are a different ecosystem here than Chattanooga was 5 years ago, or than Boston was 20 years ago. But there are some things that they are able to accomplish, especially in sort of reporting and helping to coordinate a bunch of resources that are nice outputs that we have not really been able to do as well. And it's harder to kind of report en masse. It's harder for someone to know where to go if you are, say, a church who just wants to get into this and you're not sort of making this your mission. And so we started a conversation about whether there are pieces of the program that we could bring to Kansas City and not bring the brand and not bring the whole program and not reinvent the work that is already being done. But one of the differences between us and the Enterprise Center, we're really not a direct service organization. We don't have client relationships. We don't do that work for the most part, and that's not really in our mission. It is in our mission to serve the members of the coalition and to serve the practitioners within the community who do this. And so we're kind of, talked with Deb and Sammy and Jeff and their team to see how adaptable it was. And to Deb's point on flexibility, it's like, yeah, it's pretty flexible. And so following on that, we started talking to Tom and Carrie and Ina and Rachel and some of the other organizations to look at what was accomplished sort of at scale and to say, do you think there's a way to fit this in, and is there a way that we can bring some pieces of this to market in Kansas City that build on the existing resources and partnerships and literacy programming and the refurbishing and the device distribution that we've got in place? Everyone thought it was a good idea. And so we're excited to launch today a beta version. We're calling it KC Goes Tech right now. And I will drop the link in the chat. But we are going to give away 10 $2,000 mini grants to support trainers and organizations who want to partner with us. And when I say us, I don't mean just Digital Drive, but with the library and PCs for People and Urban Tech, JFS, Goodwill, all of our partners here, talk to William at Esteem Village and figure out what this looks like in Kansas City. So these first 10 awardees will get a couple $1,000s. Half of that will be for a stipend for a trainer. The other half will just be unrestricted to the organizations. It's not a lot of money. So it's not like this is gonna enable people to start some brand new program, but we're hopeful that it will allow us to provide a little bit of coordination and learning really around how we can look at what our ecosystem looks like from a training device connectivity standpoint. I mean, again, this is very much in mission. You know, if you've talked to Tom or Michael Limita before him and what Connecting for Goods and PCs for People's mission is, you know, I know Goodwill is doing a lot of this training in the workforce pieces. So we're not replicating that. We're creating a model to which we plug those things in, but can then you know, sort of think about how we report outcomes, think about how we identify gaps, and then fill those. And so we invite you, anyone who would like to offer training within their community, to fill out the application. There's a bit more context on the webpage. We've got a 2-page PDF. Leslie or I or Carrie Keefe, who has been helpful in kind of getting this thing rolling, has been really instrumental. So we're happy to answer any questions. We'll be sharing more info as we roll out, but as of today, applications are open. Leslie, I don't know if you want to talk any more sort of about process or what we're looking for in terms of people who may apply.
Sure. Deb, if you need to drop, we understand. We just wanted you to be here for our announcement.
I appreciate it. And it looks like an awesome opportunity. It's a great way to get people started. And once they get started, they can find lots of other dollars, right? Right now, there are dollars out there for this work. So I am going to drop, but I thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Take care.
I'm going to head out too, but if there's anything y'all need from us, whether it's copies of surveys, a curriculum, whatever, don't hesitate to reach out. So it's great seeing everybody today.
Oh, you'll be hearing from me, Sammy. Trust me.
A good deal. Y'all
Thank
take care.
you so much.
All right. See y'all.
So I don't have a lot to add, but you know, we, as everyone knows, have a pretty spread out metro area. So it would be nice to have a diversity of locations and not have everything, you know, be located in Midtown KC-Mo. Also, a diversity of the types of people who are served. So, you know, whether that's organizations that provide, you know, job training or mental health services or financial literacy, like just across the board, we want to have a nice variety in the beta group initially. And then, you know, that redundancy will become less important because as you remember Sammy mentioning, you know, they are well established and have a nice network of partners, but they still end up with a waiting list. So I don't think that it's going to matter soon, you know, that we have similar organizations with similar missions in the mix. There will be a panel that outside of KC Digital Drive that is going to review the applications, score them according to some metrics, and make recommendations as far as who they think would be great to have in that first round. Our guinea pigs to sort of work out the kinks. And so we'll have that the timeline is on that project page that Aaron put the link in the chat. So I think with that, you know, if there are any any questions that might be for the benefit of the entire coalition, we're happy to take. If you have a specific question, maybe about the whether your organization should apply or something like that, we can talk with you offline. Tony, I hear you have a question.
I don't have a question. I had a few, three quick items, one of which I'm sorry Deb had to leave because I wanted to thank her for being generous with her time, not only today, but a year or so ago, we had a student team interview her about how exactly they put together the tremendous things that happen in Chattanooga. So she's just a guidepost for a lot of us on a lot of things. She mentioned Boston, where she used to live, where I used to live, where my beloved Red Sox still live, but they lost to the Yankees in Fenway last night, so that's disturbing. But I wanted to put in a plug for something Leslie and I know well, and I think others, because we've been encouraging people to read it, which is Colin Rhinesmith's paper report called Measuring the Impact of Digital Literacy, Tech Goes Home in Greater Boston. And the reason it's such an important read, I think, is because we all know that digital equity is a path toward equity in many other ways. And that report shows how they've been tracking through Tech Goes Home data on employment, education, quality of life in older residents, healthcare, housing, and civic and community information. So it's a terrific read, and I would recommend it to anybody who hasn't seen it yet. And then the last thing, I think Aaron alluded to it, the reason we have some of the seeds Deb planted, representatives from Next Century Cities here today, and Dustin Loop, who's the program manager from the Marconi Institute-led National Broadband Mapping Coalition, is this afternoon from 12:30 to 2, and there's a Zoom option. We're going to pick up on something that Brian Donahue from Next Century Cities started here, which is getting more input on their national initiatives to get better on the ground data that the FCC is going to need and the NTIA is going to look at. And so we're having a work session about that from 12:30 to 2. If anybody would like to, I know we've spread the word pretty widely, but I'll put right now in the chat box my email address. If you'd like to sit in on that and participate, I'll send you the Zoom link. Just send me an email and I'll respond right away with that. And and as Leslie knows, on the topic you were just on, these applications, I'm a big believer in train the trainer program. So I'm delighted to see this coming to Kansas City.
Yeah, and I will look for that paper and we'll send it as part of the follow-up. I will send it on to Wendy so that we can include that in the follow-up from the meeting. Andrew Lynn, you have a question?
Less a question, more so introduction. I'm Andrew from the Tech Access team. Megan was unfortunately not able to make it today, but she did want to emphasize that Digital Inclusion Week is coming up in October, and that usually comes quicker than you expect it to. So to really think about couple of different options as far as things that we would want to do as far as a Kansas City centric Digital Inclusion Week curriculum and program.
Sounds good. I'm gonna do a last call for any questions about KC Goes Tech, and then I'm probably going to step out and join the ACP roundtable that I'm a part of. But Cameron, do you have a question about KC Goes Tech?
I had another little preview plug.
Okay.
I'm also
All
in the
right.
Tech
So let me let me just wrap up our KC Goes Tech announcement and see if there's any more questions, and then I'm gonna hand it over to Wendy. She's going to take you all home, and I am going to go ahead and drop. So thank you all. I will put my email in the chat in the event nobody here has it. But before I do, and before we move on to announcements, did we miss anyone who was new to the call who might have joined after we gave that opportunity to speak? If they want to just raise your hand if you're new. Okay. All right. I just want to do a last call. Okay. So I am going to hand it over to Wendy to take you all through the rest of the meeting and announcements. Thank you all for being here, and we look forward to seeing lots of applications come for KC Goes Tech. We'll see you
Thank you,
next month,
Leslie.
everybody.
All right. And let's go ahead and pick back up with Cameron. Did you have an announcement or something you wanted to share?
Yeah, thank you. More of a preview that will probably be ready more so next month, but the Tech Access at the library is working on a resource pamphlet for library branches and community partners with just a range of information around digital inclusion in Kansas City. So we're just looking to represent as many organizations here as possible. I put a link to where the draft is right now, which is not finished, is missing things, is missing links. So it's not ready to share, but if you wanted to take a look at that, my email is in the message in the chat. If your organization isn't listed, or if you want to update information in there, I'll be reaching out individually to all the organizations on there over the next week or two to finalize those descriptions and contacts. But yeah, just looking to get concise, practical info to help across the spectrum, and heard from some people today that we'll need to get in there too. So just wanted to share that, and we'll have more next month.
Thank you so much for that, Cameron. This is a really important project that he's working on. A little bit of backstory or context. One of the departments at the library, the outreach department, has developed in the past several years something called the street sheet, which is literally just a piece of paper that they update very regularly and are able to hand out to people in person who especially are experiencing homelessness and other marginalized groups who may not have access to technology to look these sorts of resources up. So we're looking to create something along those lines with, focus on technological services and digital inclusion and things like that. So yes, please participate and get listed on our street sheet. Anybody else have any announcements or questions or anything you want to share before we part ways?
Sorry, I have a computer and the law school room. I forgot that the mic was on both places. Our August featured presentation will be from Healing House, who did a lot of interesting work over the pandemic in terms of using connectivity to extend their services. So Michael Limata, who many of you know, will be our feature presenter. And we also have our first new member presentation in a while. The new joinee, Velocity Fiber, joined the coalition, I believe in May or June, and Zach Cole will give a few minutes on who they are and what they're up to. So preview of what's to come in August.
And I don't have the slides up, but that meeting is August 5th, same time. All right. Well, if nobody has anything else, have a fantastic weekend and enjoy this heat wave. All right. Thank you, everybody.